Welcome to Often Pacing on Tab Radio Racing and Sport. Tim Walker will be joined by Matt Young and Oliver County as they delve into the form for today's Pinjarra harness meeting, as well as an early look at tomorrow's meeting at Gloucester Park. We are Often Pacing.
So very good morning, everybody. Welcome along to another edition of Often Pacing as we review a really big night of racing on Friday night, and we had a very busy weekend as well with the running of the Eureka, which had a significant WA interest, obviously, with Never Ending going around. Tim Walker with you, about to be joined by Ollie County, and we're also going to have Greg Bond a little later on this morning to work through clearly a very good Friday night for the Bond stable, taking out the 2-year-old Westbred Classic, and I'll look ahead to today. But let's not waste any time. It is a very big day to look forward to down there at Pinjarra, and also here tomorrow night at Gloucester Park. And to help us work through that, and also some horses to follow, it is great to have Ollie County with us on the line. Hello to you, Ollie.
Morning, Tim. Great weekend of racing, so I look forward to dissecting it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's get stuck into it. Let's not waste any time. We'll start with the Eureka, the $2.1 million Eureka. So the eyes were clearly on Never Ending. What did you make of his performance? And then the race as a whole, obviously, with Luke McCarthy having a terrific run in it. He's gone bang, bang to start things off.
You look at a Eureka and you see $2 million offered, and you'd think there'd be a really genuine tempo, a few people making moves, trying to get into the race so they can win that big prize, but that's not really how it played out in the end. Pete McMullen, whose nickname is Leader Peter, decided to hand up pretty weakly in the early stages to Don Hugo there and ended up running it really slowly. Luke McCarthy, he's one of the best drivers in the country, and he stole the race essentially. 33 second quarter is almost unheard of in a race of that nature at Menangle, and he kicked away and was too good. Never Ending, no knock at all. He got home 25-7, which is incredibly fast, and he took off lots of ground there. He would have been nearly 20 metres off the leader, I'd say, turning for home, and he was beaten just 8 metres in the end. So his run itself was fantastic there to get as close as he did, and there was a few good runs in behind, but the race shape just meant that Never Ending couldn't get into it in the end.
No, I don't think he loses any admirers. It's unfortunate that he couldn't get into it, but let's hope that he's able to get back here later on in the year and play a big part in our 4-year-old races. We've got Matt Young, who is with us as well as we turn our attention to Gloucester Park on Friday night. Now, Matt, good morning to you.
Good morning, boys.
Now, let's get stuck into Gloucester Park from Friday night. And, Matt, you were down here, look, the Westbred night, and having all 4 of the $100,000 plus races on the same night. It made for a really good 90 minutes of harness racing, and you were down there in the parade ring. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. I think it's a good night to showcase the Westbred talent that's here in WA, and we saw some great stories come out of a couple of the races with, Waterloo, she's just proving how good she is, but seeing Bet the House get the job done. Ron Houston's had some really nice horses over the years, and this horse has got his heart as big as himself, and that was great to see for some owners that probably haven't had the fastest of horses in their time, and they've been able to get involved in one that has been able to win a feature, and they were all smiles. And then, of course, Raynette taking out the 2-year-old fillies for Group 1 Global himself, Trent Wheeler, and the Nefranics, who have been a wonderful family in the sport of harness racing, of course, being locals to Pinjarra Cool-Up area. And I've seen Frank, Adam and Ricky and Alison have horses my whole life, and they've had some decent horses, some metro-grade horses, but seeing their family and everyone involved on Friday night with the excitement it's pretty much why we're in the sport, is for families like that and people in the industry to be able to have that moment, because that can keep you in the game for a lifetime.
Yeah, it certainly can. Ollie, what was your take on what was a really good night of pacing action?
As Matt mentioned, it was a really taking win. Bet the House, he didn't look likely there turning for home, and he just kept coming. He wouldn't lay down, and in the end he got Wave Rider, who probably had his chance there out in front, but fantastic win, bet the house. So was also really taken by the win of Belly Up. Didn't look likely there on the turn, but steamed home into it and ran right over the top. And Belly Up it put in some really good runs before that, so probably went around a pretty big price there in the end at $23. Raynette was also a really good winner there, had the right runs, but she's really speedy, and it won't be the last good race she wins with speed like that.
All right, let's get stuck into our horses to follow, and from one of the Westbred Classics, the first of them, Matt, this is where your first horse to follow comes.
Yeah, definitely does. And we've got Lion Queen. I thought was absolutely outstanding with her performance. She worked in the race 3 wide. We know how good she can be, and I thought it was just that run really put the writing on the wall that she's getting back to her absolute best. She worked around hard to get to the breeze in the 28 quarter going into the bell, and then another 2 28s to pair up on the way home, and she just stuck on really well. Just peaked on the run a little bit late, but I think she's just trending in the right direction, which is going to be dangerous for her rivals, whoever she races in the near future. Look, I'm not saying that I think she can go out there and beat Waterloo at this stage, but I think she's going to keep improving, and she's going to be very hard to beat in whatever race she can test next. I thought Copperhead Lady, it's pretty much just a simple one, but I wanted to highlight Copperhead Lady's run because I think the girls are probably stronger than the boys of what we've seen so far, and Copperhead Lady, I think, could be the best 2-year-old in the state. So that run on Friday night was outstanding. Raynette looked like she was going to win by about 3 or 4 lengths at the turn, the way she travelled up behind Copperhead Lady. And for the run that Copperhead Lady had, the guts that she showed late in the piece, look, I think she's a force to be reckoned with going forward. So she's definitely on that follow list. And Reel 'Em In really impressed me for Gary Jones in the last race. I think what I like is that she's on a really low mark, so she'll be able to go sort of anywhere into the country and be able to pick up a win pretty soon. But she showed brilliant gate speed. She sat. She got into the clear and hit the line really well. I just think Reel 'Em In has been, from what I saw at the trials to her first and second race start to what we saw on Friday night, she's just improving leaps and bounds every time she steps out there. So those are the 3, Lion Queen, Copperhead Lady and Reel 'Em In, sticking with the girls.
All right. Ollie, what have you got for us?
I've got 2 from the same race in what I think will be a decent form race there, with Skylord winning in race 8. Goodfellas, I just think he's returned exceptionally well for a spell, recorded back-to-back wins before racing in the breeze on Friday night, kicked to the top there and put up a length, but was reeled in by Skylord in the end, who's a very smart horse and definitely no knock, and battled away strongly there for third. And I thought it was a really good run, up in class a bit after quite a soft win the previous start. But I definitely think Goodfellas is quite a versatile horse, so there's a good race in him soon. Another horse from the same race I thought was worth highlighting was Flying Rumour. Was a real flashing lights run there on Friday. He came from behind Skylord and flew home and took plenty of ground off there late. I think Skylord did just knock off a little bit when he got past them, but I thought it was a fantastic effort there from Flying Rumour, and he'd sort of been struggling a little bit to recapture his best form, but I think that's definitely more his best there, and he was stood down 6 days in one trial, so I'm very keen to follow him wherever he lands next. So I think he's definitely got a good race in him, Flying Rumour. And then race 9, another really versatile sprinter, Naming Lights, was able to land a spot 3 back to pegs there on Friday, and he's always been a horse that goes best on the rails and sat up for one run, but he ended up taking really good ground off there. Ma Beach Sam, who was in second, and they ran a 27 last quarter, and I think he's racing really well at the moment, Naming Lights, and if he can sit back and come off a really good tempo, he could be one that wins at decent odds, I thought. All
right, so Goodfellas, Flying Rumour and Naming Lights for Ollie. Matt going Lion Queen, Copperhead Lady and Reel 'Em In, and well, it'll be interesting to see if Copperhead Lady does press on to the Golden Slipper and how she may go against the boys there. All right, let's turn our attention to Pinjarra today, and Matt, will get you to open the batting because you are going straight to the top of the program for your first best.
Yeah, we'll go race number 1. I thought Camille Viento was really good in the running of the Pearl. 3 wide, caught wide, back to the last, ducking and weaving, got through and hit the line really well. And I thought the horse hit the line probably as well as one like Captain Sterling, who I've got a lot of time for. So I think Como El Viento has been a horse that has been really impressive in the 4 runs back, and I thought could get the job done. Might drift out to better than even money. I think there could be some support around for the stablemate. Captain said so, but I'm happy to be with the 6 in race 1. So Como El Viento in the first. In the third race, High Sugar Rush, I was very keen on. I thought he'd get the top here, and over 2,600 metres, I thought he'd be very hard to beat. He nearly crossed last start and then got held up for a clear run. First up was successful. He's been a very good front runner. He's a nice, big, strong horse, and I just think he's going from strength to strength. It's a really nice field, but I think you're getting a good price about him. So race 3, number 4, High Sugar Rush was my secondary of the bets for today. And in the last event, I was happy to play 2 in the event. I thought Blaze Coops, scenario 1, Blaze Coops burns across leads, and I think should be very hard to beat and probably wins. And if that doesn't happen, I think it plays into the hands of a horse like Elta Queen, who's got good existing form at the Lightning Lap and has to be respected. So happy to be with Blaze Coops and a saver on Elta Queen in the last race.
All right, so that is Como El Viento in race 1, High Sugar Rush in race 3, and Blaze Coops with a saver on Elta Queen for Matt in race number 8 at Pinjarra today. Ollie, you're getting involved in the middle part of the program.
I really like a horse in this one, Madam Publisher. I think she's really classy, this filly, and she's gone very fast time at this track. She was able to record a 1:54.9 win over Rattling Lily early in this year, and she returned last start, and there wasn't a big margin there, but they still ran pretty good time, 1:56, and it was a bit of a dash home, which obviously isn't conducive to big margins. I think she can do it tough here. She could work to the top. I think however it plays out, Madam Publisher will be extremely hard to beat in this race. I don't think the 2 apprentice runners bring in the best form into this race compared to what Madam Publisher is capable of. So I think she can get the job done. She might be short odds, so she might be one that's worth multing up with something else. All
right, race 4, Madam Publisher, the second of them?
The second of them comes up in race 6, and there's a couple of ways I think we can play this one. Sweet Lucifer looks to have found a race where he can lead from the inside draw, and if he does that, I think he'll be incredibly hard to beat. He was a really good second behind Storyteller, who was extremely impressive the other day at Pinjarra. I think Major Class will get the perfect run on his back, and I think he could be a fantastic place bet in the race. One last start leading, and start prior just worked too hard in the early stages there. The other way I think we can play this is a Quinella option, 1-8. I think they're the 2 that can run 1 and 2, leaders back.
All right, leader and leaders back there in race 6. And the last?
I thought race 8 appeared a race where there could be a really genuine early tempo. Soho Rhapsody and Blaze Coops recently at Gloucester Park. Blaze Coops couldn't cross Soho Rhapsody, and they went pretty quick early there, and that race set up for a swooper. I think a horse in this race that's likely to be pretty big each way odds is Tasha Spartan. Great winner 2 back off a soft run, powered into it to win late, and wasn't a bad field there either. And then last start went forward, couldn't find a position, and had to go back to the rails there and hit the line quite well late. So I thought if the speed is on early, then Tasha Spartan could be a fantastic each-way option in that race.
All right, so Tasha Spartan there on the each-way basis. You've got in race 6, I can tell you the markets are starting to come out now. So $1.38 is Sweet Lucifer, and a Major Class there is at $5, $1.32 for the place with Tab Touch. And just on your other selection, Ollie, race 4, Madam Publisher is $1.38. And as you mentioned, maybe something you can multi up. Matt, just on yours, so race 1, Como El Viento is the $2.20 second elect. High Sugar Rush is $4.20 on the second line of betting, joint second line of betting with Waratah Lou, and then just awaiting on that last market to go up for today. So that's a look at Pinjarra to Gloucester Park, and Ollie, we'll go to you firstly. You're getting involved in the middle part of the program once more.
Kicking off in race 5 tomorrow night, I thought Peaceful first couple of runs in WA were a bit inconclusive. Not sure that they were her absolute best, but her last run, I was really taken by that effort. In New South Wales, she'd been a horse that probably didn't pace that smoothly, but last start, she appeared to pace a lot smoother there by her standards, and she sat outside them and dominated that race, raced right away in the end. I thought in this race, if she can hold the advantage on the horses to her outside, then she may be able to push to the front off My Little Big Man over the 2,500 troop. And if she does that, she'll take no end of beating and might have to just hold off a horse like Galaxy Warrior in the later stages.
All right, and the next one?
And the next one is, I think, the trotter that's probably in the best form in the state at the moment, Hold That Gold in race 7, was taken on last start by Uptown Lad, who got really keen on the run, kicked away on them on the turn, and then Nicky Sutton flashed out of nowhere and had done no work in the race and came over the top to win. I think he's just racing so well at the moment, Hold That Gold. He's got the draw advantage on main rival Patched, and I think he can lead again. And as long as he doesn't cop as much pressure as he has been in the recent races, I think he can lead and win in that race.
All right, so that is for Gloucester Park tomorrow night for Ollie. Matt, what about you? You're also going to race 5?
Yeah, I'm going with a horse that Ollie actually mentioned, Galaxy Warrior. I was really taken by his performance 2 starts ago, and I think he didn't have a great deal of luck last start, so I was happy to be with him on an each-way basis in that race. So, it just all depends on the price that is going to be dished out for him. But I thought, looking at the way the race could sort of play, I thought he was definitely an each-way play in that race, hoping for maybe better than $7 or $8 about him in the event. And second bet of the program comes up in the final event, and that is with Pocketful of Posy, who there will be a scratching in the race of Brookvale Girl, who won the maiden event on Friday. So that will be coming out today at some stage, I would imagine. And Pocketful of Posy, just like the way that this horse sprinted up last start, she had a good turn of foot. I don't think it's an overly strong sort of race, and with the smallish field, I thought she could go pretty close. So hoping for each way odds about both. Race 9, number 4, Pocketful of Posy, and race 5, number 6, Galaxy Warrior.
All right, terrific. That's us, this part of the program done, gents. So good job this morning. We look forward to, Matt, you will be down there at Pinjarra today on the Racing WA Harness X page, and again tomorrow night. So looking forward to seeing all of your coverage down there today.
Thank you very much, boys.
And Ollie, will catch up with you again next week.
Thanks, Tim.
There is Ollie County and also Matt Young having a look at our Pinjarra and Gloucester Park meetings over the next 48 hours. We'll take a very short break. We'll come back and we'll have Greg Bond with us off the back of Belly Up winning on Friday nights.
On Tab Radio, Racing and Sport, this is Often Pacing.
Great to have Greg Bond with us on the program off the back of Belly Up winning on Friday night in the Westbred Classic for the 2-year-old colts and geldings. Greg, good morning to you. Congratulations.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks very much. Yeah, it was a pleasant evening.
It certainly was. What did you make of Belly Up's win? It's certainly one that he did deserve for what's been a pretty good 2-year-old campaign.
Yeah, look, we've sort of always had a bit of an opinion of him. He's just been a real work in progress. You know, he would run around a lot, hang a lot, so to the horse's credit, he over the last couple of months he's become a lot more tractable, and we've had a number of feet problems with him, which the 10-day gap between the heat and the final was a blessing. We're able to build his walls up, and pace very, very good on Friday night, and the race being run at a solid tempo gave him his shot from the back, but didn't quite expect him to be winning at the 300 or 400, but him and Denny did a great job.
I was just going to ask you about that. At the 400, you're probably just hoping that he can run a good place and maybe sneak into the money, and to win it, I guess, is just a bonus from there.
Yeah, well, as you know, he locked wheels early in the race, and that was his fault for getting down a bit, and then, of course, there was a horse break coming in for the bell, and we copped the backwash of that. So it was great. But Denny just kept the composure and sat at the back of the pack, and it was a funny run race. There was a reasonable amount of things happening in it, especially in the last lap. But Denny went wide, and you probably don't want to be 25 wide, but it was the best spot to be, I think, with what was going on inside her. So, but yeah, no, to her and the horse's credit, he found the line really, really well, and we're looking forward to heading to the slipper with him. Yeah.
So the last couple of days since the win, everything's on track, as you say, for the Golden Slipper.
Yeah, pulled up great called up great Tim. Everything's good with him, so yeah, that'll be his target. All being well between now and then. I think it's probably 3 weeks away, or 2.5 weeks away. So, that's where we'll head with him, and that'll be his last run this campaign.
All right, and just on this 2-year-old group that you have got at the moment, we know that you had a very good team last year, and we're going to see that in the 3-year-old stocks over the coming weeks. How do you assess this group of 2-year-olds that you've got, both from a fillies where you also had representation on Friday night, and also the Colts and Geldings?
We've got a group of handy ones. I think the filly captains have time. Yep. She looks probably, I won't say exceptional, but she's up there with it, if you know what I'm saying. We've got a lot of time for her. We're going to progress with her if she holds her form, and we'll head to the slipper with her as well. Is the plan. We've generally tipped out a number of the 2-year-olds now that were running. Most of them will have a break now, and we'll just press on with belly up and captains have time into the slipper. Captain's Creek's back in work. We've got a lot of time for him. He finished down the track in the Pearl final, but he was probably at the end of it. But he's a horse that we got quite a lot of time for, as we do with Crunchy and a number of the other ones. We think they'll. Depending on how they come back, they've got upside, and we've had a few of them with injuries this time. No tendons or suspensories, but just some hairline fractures, which has been very frustrating. So you haven't seen them as much as we would have liked. But they've got their ability, Tim, and they'll bring it to the track in due course. Just
on the fillies and going towards the slipper, do you feel like this is potentially a year where one of the fillies could win the Golden Slipper?
I think it's an open year.
Yeah.
So the answer to that would be yes. Obviously, Ryan's filly on Friday night, she was exceptional again. I think our filly's, in the same space as that horse, all being well. So, and I'm sure there's others that'll pop up moving forward. But yeah, it is a year where, we ran second in it 1 year with Dodo Licious. I think it's a year where it's a little bit open, and obviously luck in running and barrier draws play a big part in that. We always say that, but that's a rattlehy. But it's definitely a year where one of the fillies could bob up and win it for sure.
Having a chat here to Greg Bond on Off and Pacing off the back of Belly Up, winning on Friday night. Now, just having a look forward, so I mentioned those 3-year-olds. Before we know it, we'll be right on the doorstep of the WA Derby. It's only a couple of months away. As strange as that sounds, it is coming up quick. How is the battery of 3-year-olds that you've got ticking along?
Yeah, good, Tim. We've obviously got Vegas Strip. He's just we're ticking him over just for a week or two now. I do have him nominated for Friday night, but you'll probably see him the following Friday, I'm thinking. I'll just have a look at that and see what he does tomorrow morning. And Christopher Vance, the new one that hasn't raced yet, hopefully you'll see him end of this month, early October. He's progressing quite nicely. He looks like a beautiful horse to have in the stable. And the Little Master and Then You Came Along, they'll both be fronting up sometime late this month and start their Derby preps as well. So hopefully we'll have a group of 4 horses to head to it. How many of them get a gig, I don't know, but if they deserve it, they'll get in.
$3.50 in the all-in at the moment is Christopher Dance with Tab Touch, so that is how things are placed there. So just then on the free-for-allers, Minstrel, how's he ticking along, and will we see him soon?
Yeah, coming along good. He's had a few gallops, hasn't had a hopple run yet, but he is reasonably forward, so Sky's the boss of him, mate, so I just do what I get told there. But I think you'll see him probably end of this month, early next month, front up. Be nice to probably get at least 2 runs into him before the Pacing Cup, maybe 3. Tenzing Bromac as well. he just paced a bit roughly in his last start when he won, and we found a bit of an issue behind. So we've elected to treat that back off him, and he's in full work now. It's all sorted. He'll just work up with Minstrel now, and they'll probably return about the same time. So he'll have another look at him having a couple of runs before the Pacing Cup as well, and probably Steal the Show's the other one that we'll try and head down that road. He's not far off. He just hasn't quite been winning races that probably are winnable, but he worked very good this morning, so we'll just press on with him and see if we can't get him in there as well.
All right, and is there a temptation to try and get the mare in there as well, Artie, by the seaside, or is it you'll just play the mare's races with her?
Well, the first mare's race is on, I think, from memory, is on the same night as the Pacing Cup, Tim.
Yep.
So it sort of probably makes a bit of sense to stick to your own sex, I think. And then, of course, you've got a fortnight later, you've got the 150,000 main mares race as well. And look, without looking too far down the track, if she was gunning in those races, well, there's obviously the Nugget Series to look at as well, which might be a bridge too far, but I guess she came out and beat the probably not your best August Cup you've ever seen a few weeks ago, but she still came out and got the job done in the August Cup against the free-for-all horses, so she's obviously in that space somewhere for sure.
All right, just before we do let you go, an eye towards today. So Mad Monday, what can you tell us about Mad Monday on WA debut today?
Yeah, well, it's probably the right time of year to have him race. There's a few Mad Mondays going on, I guess, at the moment. Wasn't by design, I can tell you. Look, he's one that we bought at the Melbourne sales ourselves, and we left him over there with Dave Moran for his education, and very, very green horse over there, and a little bit of attitude to him. But we've had him here a while now. He's now started to track good and do the things that we want to do. So I expect him to run a pretty solid race today. I'm not saying he's going to come out and win. There's a couple of horses out wide that have been racing very well, but by what he's doing here, he's probably a horse that he's worth following. I think he's going to pay his way moving forward on what we're seeing at home. All
right, and then on to race number 3. Now you've got dual representation here, of course, Golden Load under your name, but I'm sure you're happy with the job that Senior's doing with Storyteller as well.
Yeah, well, I was happy to pay his bill the other day. The first one came in, so no, he's 2 from 2. I don't know whether he thought I was setting him up when I rang him to see if he'd have a go at him, but no, I did say to him he's got very good ability. We just really struggled to get him right, so we just elected to probably take a left-hand turn. We don't normally do, but so far so good. It's paying dividends. So he's a horse with a lot of bottom, and hopefully you can keep getting the best out of him. Golden Load horse, he was good first up. Just had a little setback with a bit of a virus, so that's why you haven't seen him for probably 3 weeks. But he's working up very good. He's definitely not out of this race. It's going to be tricky how it's all run, being the small field, but he's got a very, very good turn of foot, so we'll use that today. And it wouldn't surprise me to see him win this race, but I'm not saying he will, but he should be in the conversation at the finish for sure. Yeah, it's an intriguing little race, that one. Race number 3 on the program today at Pinjarra. Greg, thanks for your time this morning. We do appreciate it and look forward to catching up with you over the next few weeks here. Good on you, Tim. Take care, buddy. Greg Bond, our special guest, with us on Off and Pacing today. So that's us done. That's half an hour that has absolutely flown by this morning. Plenty to look forward to at Pinjarra today and also Gloucester Park tomorrow night. Make sure that you stay tuned to the Racing WA Harness X page and you'll be able to get full coverage of that. I'm going to vacate the chair. I'll leave you in the capable hands of Saskia Zappia to take you through the early part of race day and look forward to your company again next week here on Off and Pacing.
Do you want cutting-edge analysis of Melbourne form? Do you want to know who the future winners will be? Racetrack Ralphie Horowitz provides his followers with the ultimate punting experience. With ad-free independent analysis, Racetrack Ralphie provides in-depth previews and reviews of every Melbourne meeting. For more information, check out his website, racetrackralphie.com.au. You can also tune in to Racetrack Ralphie at 6:45am every Sunday morning on The Aftermath, right here on TAB Radio, Racing and Sport.
Let's begin.
When it comes to insurance, Phoenix Insurance Brokers are the trusted name in WA. Celebrating 30 years in the business, they know how to make complex processes easy. PIB offers competitive rates, a choice of companies, and most importantly, the experience, which gives them great insight into client needs. PIB provide tailored practical solutions with the personal touch to help you protect your business. So contact Phoenix Insurance Brokers today at phoenixins.com.au.
2002, bid to get 2-2, bid to get 2-4, 2-4, now 2-5. At to 2-5, going once, going twice, sold to another happy bidder at Ross's Auctions.
If you need building supplies, chances are Ross's Auctions already have it. Paint, oils, tools, loads of timber including flooring, decking and pine. Check out the gear and place your bid today. You can find Ross's Auctions throughout the state, with permanent locations in Perth, Kalgoorlie, Karratha and a recently opened complex in Bunbury. Log on to auctions.com.au. MD 5681.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.